So now, as you finished the body of the flower, we will decorate this. So you can cut thread off that you were crocheting with and make the last stitch. I prefer to make it as a slip stitch into the round, the last round, and leave this small stitch on the hook. This thread, you will crochet around this thread, and we will crochet backwards, single crochet backwards, and as you crochet you can lay this around the edge and crochet over it. But first pick up the contrast color thread, the same type of thread, DMC number 8, Perle cotton, and grab the thread and pull it through this last stitch. And then you can take these two tails, the short tails of the one will be of your new thread contrast color, and another one that you finished crocheting with, and they will be behind your work. You will crochet over them. So the first is a slip stitch. You drew the stitch through the last stitch and make a slip stitch here. After that, we're going into the previous row, into the stitch. We're going and crocheting backwards, single crochet backwards. It is very difficult to see here, but you know how to crochet single crochet backwards already. And make sure you're crocheting over this thread right here. I constantly keep it right in here, in my between my pinky and middle finger and a ring finger right here. That way it reminds me that I have to crochet over it. Okay, pull the thread and crochet single crochet backwards into each stitch of the previous round. And you have to be very patient in here, because the last row, crochet single crochet backwards in such a small tiny area in a circle is not the most easy part. You can also skip one stitch and crochet into every other stitch if you want. You can try that. It will just give you a little bit different round, different looking edge. Not much different, but you can try both, or into each stitch or into every other stitch. Insert your hook. Now as you've finished, you can at this time you can take these short tails and just kind of make a ball out of them, and you can or cut them or insert inside this flower. Inside it will be on a way, and it will not bother you. You can still continue crocheting over it, but in this small area it's not easy, so this is why I put it away. And continue. finish. There are like 4 stitches left in my case. And right in here, the last area when you the last stitch to make, what you can do, insert the hook right in the first stitch of the round and pull thread through the stitch of the round and through the stitch that you had on the hook. And now you can cut thread and you will weave it in. So now what you can do, you can go ahead and with the needle pull this thread out, and now you can cut it off, but be careful not to cut the last edge of the flower, so you don't need this. And the thread that you crocheted with, you have to weave in. So insert the hook, the thread into the tapestry needle and weave in. I like to weave in my thread right into the last round. It's probably the easiest place to weave it in. And it's nice to close the gap between the first and last stitch. That way it will look everything the same. You will not see anything in here. And you can basically weave in the front area, looking at the front all the time. Make sure you do it neat, that your thread will not show anywhere. You will not have any funny looking weird places. Weave in up to 2-3 times, depends again on the thread you use. If it is silk or rayon, you'll have to weave in up to 5 rounds and use a very fine tapestry needle. But it is very important to weave in many times if it's a very silky thread. Cotton is much better. It's not going like 2-3 times. And it's fine. So I did it 2 times. I can cut this thread off, and I don't need this anymore. And you can also take again the same handle of the crochet hook, but not very wide, enough to enter in the hollow area of a flower, just to stretch a little bit the last row, the round that you made. Stretch just a little bit, and that's it. So for now we will put this aside. We will come back to it a little bit later, and the next part we will crochet little stamens, this right here, the one that comes out, those that comes out of the flower. So with the contrast color, and again I'm using the same DMC 8, make a chain, 16 stitches. So 16 stitches long. After that we will make a puff stitch into a second stitch from the hook. So we are not counting the first stitch that on a hook, right? We're doing it first and the second on a stitch. So you make, how to make a puff stitch: yarn over, insert the hook into the second stitch on the chain, grab the thread and pull it through, then again yarn over, and do it the same time, the same way, into the same hook, in the same stitch, and pull threads through. You can do it up to 3 times. I did it twice. You can make it a little bit more and bumpier looking puff stitch, and after all this thread on the hook, grab the thread and crochet through all the stitches on the hook at once. And I lost my thread. Well, if this has happened with you, I prefer to undo it because it's not going to look nice if I'll dig into my puff stitch looking for that thread. So I will do it one more time. So now you have enough stitches on the hook. Pull the threads through all the stitches, make slip stitch, and from now on we will crochet into the chain. Not in the same, we are not going back into the same stitch. You see it's kind of stretched. In the next stitch we will crochet 6 slip stitches into a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you crochet into the chain 6 slip stitches. This will be your first stamen. After that, continue for the next stamen. Crochet a chain of 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again we will make puff stitch. And then into the 3rd stitch and make slip stitches. This time we will make 7 slip stitches into the chain. This is how many will be fit slip stitches. Actually, this is how many stitches of the chain left. So you don't have even to count sometimes because you go into the end of the chain of 10 stitches. You can make single crochet stitches here, but the stamens then will look a little bit too thick, and you want this cord look nice and neat and tiny as a flower. You can even use different thread. If you will find DMC thread the same color in number 12, then change to the crochet hook 0.6 or 5 millimeters and crochet. Your stamens will be fine and a little bit tinier than what I am making. So we have 2 stamens and 1 more. So this time crochet chain of 13 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Again we're making a puff stitch, yarn over, hook into the 2nd stitch of a chain, and then continue 10 slip stitches into a chain. 10 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, and so on until you end up at this chain, crocheting into the extensional chain. It's supposed to be 10 stitches there. So after that, so you have 3 stamens, here they are. The first one was from the first chain, and this chain, what it is, this is what left of the first chain we were making out of 16 stitches. So now we will continue crocheting into this last chain. It will be 7 slip stitches supposed to be, if you crocheted everything, followed my directions and written instructions. So crochet single crochet slip stitches into the chain that is first chain that left. And the last stitch. If you cannot enter into the last stitch, sometimes it's very difficult. So probably you can even ignore it if it's not possible, because the thread is so fine and the hook small. After that, what I always recommend, not to cut this very short, and opposite. Measure from now on the thread from the ball, from the skein that you crocheted with, 4 to 5 yards. 4 probably will be enough. For beginning from this tip, don't close this last stitch yet. So measure 4 to 5 yards. And after that, you can cut thread. And now, this long tail that you just got, you can pull this stitch, this thread, this long thread, those 4 or 5 yards, out from this last stitch. And this is the way, this way you will close the last stitch. Make sure that your thread will not tangle. It's very easy to lose it here. So pull it through, and we will come back to the next video and we will crochet small leaves around the flower and a stamen.